Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today we're checking out the Grim Workshop subscription for December of 2023. This subscription runs $20 a month, gets you bushcraft, survival, or EDC type gear in the form factor of a credit card, dog tag, or medallion. Now, they seem to go all out every year for the holidays. This year is no exception. Really great gear this month. So excited to get into it. Let's start with the unlisted item. This is just a piece of swag, sticker, really cool design, but not assigned a price, which I obviously love to see. They also don't always include swag, so really cool to see that in here. It's a Grinch themed kind of bauble looking sticker. GW logo replacing the eyes, the website on the mouth there. Really excellent design. I like the look of this one a lot, and really happy that they're not including that in the overall value of this month's subscription. Now, one thing they did in the 2022 subscription was they gave us a holiday ornament and was really hoping they'd repeat that. So I've been excited to see what December had to offer this year for a couple months now. This is last year's holiday ornament that I'm referring to. You can see a nice elaborate hook, GW logo 2022 on the main portion of that ornament. And then underneath, I think this is the coolest part, is that miniature version of one of their cards. Now this is for display purposes only. It's not a usable card. You can see that knife on there does not have an edge. The hooks and the needles do not have holes, and there's no retention backing, so not really intended to be removed. But I thought it was a really cool touch and was hoping that they would repeat it this year, and they did. And so it came packaged with the monthly business card. You can see we get a holiday themed business card this time around as well. And the holiday ornament has a little bit of a less elaborate hook, but a more elaborate main portion of the card. So I think that's pretty cool looking. You can see the color passing through because this time around the logo is cut out, as is the 2023. And then we have some candy canes along the outside. We also got another miniaturized version of the cards. This one actually does look like some of them may be somewhat usable. There's holes in the needles, but still no retention backing and really not intended to be used. It's just a display item, but a lot of attention to detail on that. You can still see some of those are labeled, like this one says hook. It has the Made in the USA, GW, Grim Workshop website over here, so they've still labeled them. Nice attention to detail. Now they do assign a value of $9.99 for the ornament, which some people may not love to see since it's not really a usable tool. What I will say though is if you remove that from this month's subscription, we still got more tools than we typically get, and we still got a higher value than we typically get. So even though they're adding that $9.99 in value, it's not taking away from anything you would normally get in the subscription. In fact, we still get more than we would normally get. So I don't mind seeing that at all. In fact, I'm excited about it. Now, one thing that is kind of a mainstay of these is the tip cards. So last month we got a tip book instead, actually 2 tip books, a little bit higher value, but I didn't like them as much because they didn't seem as durable. It seemed like, you know, if you got them wet, they'd be ruined. You could use them as tinder, I guess, but the form factor wasn't there. And I just like the original tip cards a little bit better, even though they're valued a little bit less. So I was excited to see that this month they returned to that and we got our typical 2 tip cards. So the first one is General, or G4, and they label these so that you know which ones in the collection you still need. Also, so you can put them in order and find them easily. The first letter is the category, which is General, and then the number, which is 4. This one has a DIY lantern from a can on the front, as well as a slush lamp DIY on the back. So actually 2 different tips. You can see illustrations, step-by-step instructions, valued at $1.85. Now I mentioned you get 2 of them. The second is the trapping card, and this is T5. The Paiute Deadfall Trap. Really cool illustration on the front, shows you how to put it together with step-by-step instructions on the back. Now this is a trap intended for small game because you need a rock that you can lift but is heavy enough to kill whatever you're trying to capture, and so it is meant for smaller game, but really good instructions and illustration on there, also valued at $1.85. Now another theme that they're returning to from last year was the Christmas Carol theme, and I thought that was a pretty cool theme last year, so glad they're repeating it. If you're not familiar with the story, the character is visited by spirits from their past, present, and future, and so they assigned a past, present, and future to their different tools, and we got 3 tools this month instead of our typical 2. So we'll start with the past. This is the only one that I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be the same in everyone's subscription because of the way it's labeled on the spoiler card. So for the past one, it says tool from the past. This holiday season, Grimm is sending out past tools that have been discontinued or updated to show how we have changed throughout the years, and is valued at $19.95. So the wording of that, the fact that they don't tell you what specific card you're getting, does kind of imply that there may be different past tools coming out. So I'm kind of excited to see that. If you get this and you get a different tool than me, definitely let me know down in the comments, or even if you just see someone else's where they got a different tool, would definitely be curious to hear about that. The only other spoiler I have seen on this, they got the same tool as me, so not sure how much variety is out there, but hopefully there is some. I think I'm pretty excited about the one that I got, so don't necessarily want to see something different, but may not be for everyone. And the past card that I got, they all come labeled in these clear little sleeves, and so you know what they are. I did of course remove them from the sleeves, but I got the Grimm Gunsmith card, so I thought that was really cool. This is obviously a very specific tool. You can see no retention backing. That's because there's no removable tools. Everything is intended to be used as is, so we have a lot of different wrenches, muzzle wrenches, receiver extension removal, and you have the 4mm, 5mm, 3/16, I'm sorry, 3/8. So common sizes you might need: a 1911 bushing wrench, a castle nut wrench, a carbon scraper. So really specific tool, meant to be kind of thrown in your range bag or just held in your wallet, that sort of thing. And one thing I thought was really interesting about this tool actually is how much thicker it is than most of their cards. It looks like it's probably about 3 times thicker than most of their cards. So I'm not 100% sure if that's because back then when they made this card, they just made them thicker, or if it's because of the specific tool, which also makes a lot of sense to me that this one would need to be a little bit thicker than their typical card. Either way, I thought that was kind of cool and interesting. And so that's what I got for my past card. You can see they also come with these info cards to tell you a little bit about it. And actually it says on the bottom, a large amount of space reduced to an area no bigger than a standard credit card and only slightly thicker. And so, yeah, a little bit thicker than your credit card. Now for our present card, we got a Mark Merriweather signature card. And so we see that a lot where they work with a specific individual to come up with a card that makes sense for them. This one is for Foraging Texas, and so has a very specific theme. And I think that's pretty cool. We go from Gunsmith card to a Foraging card. So something that if you weren't so into the last one, hopefully you can gift that, but they have something completely opposite for this one. So the Foraging card has this berry harvester, these leaf scrapers of a bunch of different sizes. You can see them on both sides. I think that's pretty cool. You have your ruler and your saw. You have a scraper here and some tweezers, a little bit different style of tweezers than we typically see on the cards too. Sometimes we get tweezers that are removable, and surprisingly those stay together really well and actually work very well, but cool to see a different version. These are not removable. They're intended to use directly from the card itself. And so I'm not sure how limiting that's going to be, just being, you know, having the rest of that card in the way. It doesn't seem too bad because it is in the corner, but we'll be curious to see how that works out. There's a scraper, a blade over here, worth noting, not sharp at all, so you can run your finger across this. It's not going to cut you, it's not going to cut your wallet or whatever you're storing in there, but in theory it's a little bit thinner than the rest of the card. If you use it to put pressure on like a small twig, something like that, you should be able to cut through it no problem, even though it's not a sharpened edge. Tick removal tool, which I love seeing on here. And overall, just kind of a cool card. This one's valued at $21.95, so a little bit higher value than our past card. Now, typically that would be it. We don't often get more than 2 tools, and when we do get 2 tools, a lot of times it's a full-size card and a smaller card, but for the December subscription, they always like to go above and beyond, like I said. So for the future card, we got a future release, and this is the Lockpick Rake Dog Tag V1. And so we've gotten a dog tag style lockpick one in the past, and honestly was not super impressed with it. I have a hard time picking locks with it because they're just a little bit too short. I do have some hope that the design of this one will work a little bit better, but still I'm not super hopeful. I'll do a short on these at some point. I haven't tested these out, just got them in the mail, so haven't tested these ones out on whether or not these ones work a little bit better or they also fail. But I will say that their full-size lockpick cards do work very well. They may not be as comfortable as a normal lockpick, but they work just as well in my experience. I've had a couple of those cards and all of them have actually work for picking locks. And so we'll see with this one. I know my last dog tag one didn't work that well, but that doesn't necessarily mean this one won't. It's just that most of them were about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch too short. And so we'll see how that goes here. But this is valued at $9.50. Don't know when this one's releasing, but it is a future version of that. And so hopefully they just kind of took some of those issues and were able to resolve them in the overall design of these ones. And so that's everything that we got in the December subscription. A lot more than usual. I'd say probably 2 more items than we normally get, plus that swag. And so I think really cool items, a lot of versatility. You have like a urban EDC, a foraging / bushcraft, and a more tactical card, which I think is cool that they spread it out. And overall value wise, we're probably looking at about $65, more than 3 times what we pay, which is again higher than what we'll typically see. A lot of times we'll see about $35 in value, so about $30 more than we typically see. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, what your favorite items are. Again, if you get this subscription, if you got a different tool for your past, and overall thoughts on this month's subscription. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great one. Take care.